Hey everyone, it is day 8 on board the Norwegian Joy to Alaska and it's Disembarkation Day, so check it out. Hey everyone, it is day 8 on board the Norwegian Joy on our cruise to Alaska. I'm Ken from Northern Viking Explorer.
I'm Andrea.
And it is Disembarkation Day. We are a little bit sad. And what time did we arrive here in Seattle this morning?
Early. I started hearing announcements at 6:30 this morning, so it's just after 7 now.
I think they actually arrived around 5 though. It was really early, so we were gonna head out for breakfast and try and grab a little bite, and then we're getting off the ship and we're in Seattle. So let's get right into it. So this morning we're going to the Savor for breakfast, and actually the Savor was cram-packed, so they opened up the Taste across the way. Everybody's trying to get in their last formal breakfast. And here's a quick look at the menu if you do want to see what that looks like. It was the same menu on both the Taste and the Savor, and some great options here for breakfast.
We really enjoy sitting down, and a lot of people I think feel rushed today to get going where they have to for catching flights, but because we are driving home, we can enjoy it. And look at this beautiful fruit salad. This is like better than the fruit salad that's upstairs in the buffet. You can see there's kiwi and the blackberry.
Yeah,
delicious.
and again, you can order omelets or scrambled eggs like I got here, bacon, hash browns. The breakfasts are excellent here. Hey, doesn't this look like a scene from Grey's Anatomy with the with the ferry boats coming in?
Do you like ferry boats, Ken?
Yes, I like ferry boats. And but over on the other side, you can see the Space Needle again over there, and it's kind of the calm before the storm, before everybody's rushing off the ship, catching their flights and driving out. But what a beautiful day here in Seattle again. You can see there's already trucks backing in to unload food for their next sailing. They're just off in a few hours here.
If you're hoping to get a swim in this morning, though, that's not going to happen. All the hot tubs and the pools are closed, so you'll have to book again and come back if you want to.
The buffet is quite busy this morning as well. A lot of people in here trying to get their last breakfast in. But, I mean, you did pay for it, so make sure you come grab your breakfast. We're going to head to the observation lounge where it is actually quiet compared to the buffet, and grab a coffee here and enjoy our last hour or so. Again, some options here. It's more of a light breakfast, but you do have those options here. We actually picked the last debarkation time, so we're gonna just hang out and grab a coffee because we are driving home.
It's definitely quiet, though.
Yeah, it's really quiet up here.
And one of the advantages of being back in Seattle is that we have internet again, so connecting back to the real world.
Connecting back to the world, yes. And so our number was called. I really think they could have held off by calling us our number by about 10 minutes because we ended up having to wait in line to get off the ship. And if they would have just held off another 10 minutes, we could have walked right off the ship. But
I want to say, though, the gangways got really stuffy and hot. And it wasn't even that hot outside, but we don't really show it here, but we had to stand there for quite a while. It was quite warm.
Yeah, but this is where you grab your luggage. They organize it by the tag you got to get off the ship, so really easy to find. And now we're off the ship, so we are going to head back home to Canada, and we're going to catch up with you there with our final thoughts about this cruise. Okay, so we made it home, and it was an amazing trip on the Norwegian Joy. And we just want to go through some of our loves and also our wishes. Yeah, so amazing trip. We would not hesitate to book on the Norwegian Joy. Again, it was such an amazing vacation, an amazing ship. We're going to go through several different categories. And like we said, we're going to go through what we loved about it and some of our wishes for the ship. And we'll start out right now with number 1. We'll just start out with our cabin. And I want to say, first of all, that we booked this cabin with the guaranteed inside, or it might be called something else, but where the cruise line actually picks your cabin for you. Mm-hmm. We've done this several times in the past, and we picked an inside cabin this time. And we ended up in room 10521, so towards the front of the ship, kind of in the middle of the ship as well.
I was really happy with this because we have done guaranteed inside with other cruise lines and ended up on the very bottom floor. So to be up on the 10th floor, I like that because you're not at the very bottom, and then you can take the stairs for some things. I like to be able to go up a couple floors or down a couple floors. So I did really like that. I would say it was like almost all the way into the front of the ship, so it's a little bit of a walk to the elevators. You're not like right by them. But that being said, it was a very quiet location.
The room was really quiet.
Extremely quiet.
Definitely compared to other cruise ships we've been on. It was really quiet compared to the competition. We didn't really hear people in the halls. It was really nice. The other thing I do want to mention, the location being towards the front of the ship. The front elevators seem to be busier than the aft elevators. So if I were to choose, I'd try to get something closer towards the back of the ship. Just because the buffet is at the front, and so it seemed like it was a lot busier, as well as when you get on the ship in Seattle, most people are getting on at the front of the ship as well. So it just seemed a lot busier at the front compared to the back of the ship.
There were times we actually would walk down to use the aft elevators because we got tired of waiting. So maybe that would be our wish, is that to be closer to the aft elevators. But
I would say that doesn't really have anything to do with it has more to do with our room location than the room itself. As for the room, it was definitely smaller, and we know these inside rooms are smaller. We've stayed in them several times before. The bed was really comfy, way more comfy than other cruise ships we've been on. It didn't have it had a closet, but it didn't have quite as much storage space, so our suitcases did fit under the bed, which was nice. I know you wanted to talk about
the closet. So
the closet,
the one thing that I would be a wish for me is that, yes, they had a good sized closet and it had some shelving in it, but I did miss the drawers that you could put your stuff right into, and I was hoping for that, and I brought my packing cubes, and I had in mind how I was going to use them in there. So they did have shelving, and it was okay, but I do prefer drawers.
If you do want to see what our room looked like, go back to our day one of our vlog. There is a room tour in there, and I'm also going to be putting together a full room tour so you guys can see what that looks like. I know it was nice though, even the way they hid things, like in the room there was USB plugs right by the bed, so we could charge our phones right there. There was what's that thing that dries your hair?
Oh, a hair dryer.
Okay, brain cramp. But there was a hair dryer right under the desk, and the restroom.
Oh, it was the biggest washroom that we've had on an inside cabin before. And it had actual glass shower doors instead of the curtains, so I really like that. One thing I wanted to go back about the cabin that I thought was super smart is behind the bed they had a shelf. So you could charge your phone and it wouldn't fall out. And so that was really smart. If you had some little things, it had a little ledge on it. So just a lot of thought went into designing this cabin. It was smaller, but it was super sleek. It had lots of USB ports everywhere. I would say the one thing, and we knew this going into an inside cabin and being smaller, didn't really want to order room service though, because that would be the wish, is that there was just a little more desk room, because there's only room for one person to sit there. So if you're ordering in room service and you have your beverages and your entrees, there's not really room for all your food if there's two of you eating. And so we actually never did room service even for breakfast, because I just felt like there wasn't space for all of that. Yes, we could have made it work, but I just was more comfortable going to a restaurant. And
I know because we've sailed on many inside cabins before in the past, we know that we don't spend a lot of time in there. If we were going to spend a lot of time on the inside cabin, I probably wouldn't book one.
No.
We typically just go there to change and sleep at night. We spend a lot of time going to shows or different demonstrations or different things, or we're out at a port. So we're okay with that. But if you want to spend a lot of time in your cabin, it's definitely going to be cramped for you. So I think that kind of wraps up the first item on our list, which was the cabin. So the second thing on our list that we want to talk about is the pools and hot tubs. So take it away, Andrea.
Okay, so in the main part on the Lido deck, they have two pools. They have one for adults only, one that's open to everybody, and then they have a children's water park area. Now, out of those three, we only used the adult only pool. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was really warm.
Yes.
It was really warm. And because we were in Alaska, I didn't know if it would be cold. I think it was warmer than some of the pools I've been in the Caribbean. So that was a real bonus because I didn't expect to be swimming in Alaska. But that kind of takes us to our next point about hot tubs and pools is the hot tubs.
The cool tubs? I would say that the adult pool, the swimming pool was almost the same temperature as the 2 hot tubs on the Lido deck by the pools, as well as the H2O Spice, especially at the beginning of the week. So they were definitely not hot tubs. So my wish would be that they would heat those up. And I think even later in the week, they got warmer. Yeah. But I would say at their hottest point later in the week, they were probably at the cool end of what a hot tub that I've ever been in my life felt like. So it wasn't a place that, I've never had it where I want to get out of a hot tub after about 15 minutes because I feel cool. And that's what it felt like on the Norwegian Joy. So my wish would be that they would heat them up for sure.
Yeah, I would say it was still relaxing to sit in there and chat with people, especially in the H2O Spice hot tub. But if you're wanting that like really hot, relaxing hot tub, that didn't happen for us on this cruise. And I hope that they're able to fix that for future cruises. Yeah.
The other thing that was really weird, and it kind of seemed backwards to me, and I know we've mentioned this in our vlog series, was at 7 o'clock in the H2O Spice, all of a sudden they allowed children into the hot tub or into that area, whereas all day it was adults only. And to me it seemed kind of backwards. I know we love kids, we've got kids, and but it just seemed like it was, we don't always want to be splashed in a hot tub, especially when the hot tubs in the Lido area were full of kids all day. So you go up there and all of a sudden kids were allowed in there. It just seemed kind of backwards to me. So that did not make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you, Ken, on there. Because, you know, for me, when I like going into an adult-only area, sitting in a really hot tub, and it being quiet and relaxing. And so it did seem kind of weird that would just disappear at 7.
Yeah, so anyway, that's, I think, probably our other wish for that. So other than that, the water slides, we only did the one, can't remember what it's called now, the one with the tube. We didn't do the free fall one, and we really enjoyed that. But again, being in Alaska, the line seemed a little bit longer for that because they only let kind of one person go at a time. So, and they waited till they got to the bottom. So it was usually like a 10-minute wait to get onto that, which when you're in Alaska, if the weather's cooler, it seemed like a little bit longer of a wait when the guy helping you out is wearing a parka and you're waiting to get onto the tube. So, but it was definitely a fun slide and enjoyable for sure. Any other thoughts about the hot tubs and pools?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at the map for one of the hot tubs on our ship plan, and it showed that there was another hot tub, and we went around the ship looking for it, and I'm like, hey, what am I not understanding here? So I went and we asked one of the staff members, like, how do we find this hot tub? And they told us, although the hot tub is on the floor plans, it didn't show the updates that when they brought the ship did all the renovations when they moved it from the Asian market, they actually made that an exclusive area. It was one of the areas that you had to pay extra to use. So there is another hot tub there, but you have to pay to get in that area, and the current maps didn't show that. So.
Yeah, so those are our thoughts on the hot tubs and pools. We did enjoy them, but again, maybe they could make some improvements there. So that's it for number 2. So number 3, and one of our favorite places, and probably the gem of the Norwegian Joy, is the observation lounge. It is absolutely amazing. If you want to go grab a coffee or a pastry or dessert and go sit by the window, it was absolutely gorgeous. And we spent a lot of time in there just relaxing.
This is really a great space. It doesn't matter if you're going to Alaska, if you're going to the Caribbean, because it's temperature controlled. So if you're in Alaska, you go in there to warm up. If you're in the Caribbean, you may go down there to cool down after being in the hot sun. So it's a really nice space. They have lots of lovely music playing. They've got board games in there.
Yeah.
It's a great place if you're traveling with a group to meet up with them.
Yeah. It also has one of the 2 Starbucks on board is in that area. So if you love Starbucks, you can purchase that there. And it was definitely quieter, as we mentioned, the first day or two. But as people discovered it, it did get busier throughout the week. So
this is leading into our wish.
yes,
Because the space is amazing. And some people decided to use it for napping. And my wish is that Norwegian would somehow find a way to discourage this, because it got very, very full at the end of the week. And
can I clarify napping?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about someone sitting in a chair and falling asleep.
No.
We're talking about someone deciding to lay on a couch, full out, taking the whole couch for several hours. And we saw this on multiple occasions. So.
And they haven't really set up like small little living rooms. And so you would walk around and you might see 3-4 people taking up full couches at a time. And it's awkward for other people to use the chairs around them. They don't feel comfortable in sitting down next to them. So I saw, including myself, looking for a place big enough to hang out with your friends. And we eventually sometimes sat down next to the nappers, and I felt awkward talking like I'm going to wake them up. It just... It's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
So I think if people could maybe be courteous, they would make it a better place. And I don't know, I don't want to call it a bad. It was the most amazing place on the ship. So all in all, we absolutely loved the observation lounge and the games and the places to sit. That would just have been our one wish. So that is number 3 of our places on the ship. And Number 4 is the staff on the Norwegian Joy. And I do have to say the staff on this ship was absolutely amazing. They were just so kind. They always had everything you needed. They remembered things. They were just amazing and always there when you need them, but yet discreet about it. So it was really an amazing experience with the staff, wouldn't you say?
I just have an example. We were on another cruise line before, and we saw a little boy. He spilled his drink, and one of the staff members in the buffet actually saw it happen. We watched this whole thing play out, and he quickly turned around and walked away like he didn't notice, so he wouldn't have to deal with the mess.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me go, oh, like they just didn't seem as happy and content. And I want to say that we never saw any of that behavior on the Norwegian Joy.
No.
The staff always like stepped up to help. They were helpful, and they seemed genuinely happy. So I don't know if the staff on the ship are really, really like better working conditions or what Norwegian has done, but the staff look happier.
Yeah. And I'd mentioned discreet before, and I think what I mean by that, because we've been on other cruise lines where our room steward, every time we'd walk by, they're like, oh, what are you up to? And we're like, oh, we're going to the pool. And then we'd go to the pool and come back 45 minutes later, and they'd be like, you're back already. And I don't want to have to tell my room steward where I'm going every time. They were really discreet about it. Like and I think they were just overbearing on that other ship and trying to be friendly, but it just came as too much. And we just want to go to the pool without having to announce that we're going to the pool or whatnot. So I think they were really good on the Norwegian Joy about that. And the other thing is, like they were really good at just sneaking in and cleaning our room when we were away. I don't know how they do it.
They do have that little light that you switch on, saying so they can see if you're in your cabin and if you've requested to have your room made up for the day. So that helps, but they're not like cornering, going, "Oh, are you going to be in your cabin? Oh, when are you coming back?"
Yeah.
There wasn't all those intrusive questions of what your plan was for the day.
Yeah.
So,
I know you wanted to mention as well about the doors.
Yeah. So what I liked and what I saw on the Norwegian Joy is that it appeared that the room stewards were only attending one room at a time. So when we were on another cruise line, the room steward would have 4 rooms propped open at a time, right? And so they would be going in and out between all the 4 rooms. And I guess they had a totally different system. But I like that Norwegian Joy doesn't do that, because I didn't like that my cabin would be left propped open so long.
Yeah.
Just for security, because I know that you can lock your stuff up in your cabin, but we're all guilty of leaving our camera or our cell phone out, and we don't want to have to be in and out locking stuff up all the time. So I felt like it was more secure that and more privacy. Your stuff isn't open, everybody looking in your cabin all the time. So, bonus to Norwegian for arranging it that way, because it made us, the cruisers, happier and feel more comfortable.
Yeah, staff was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The staff, hands down, amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Norwegian.
Thank you.
So number 5 on our list of things we're going to talk about is the entertainment. And the entertainment on the Norwegian Joy was amazing. We loved it. But one thing I do want to say, if you can pre-book your shows on your computer before you get on the ship, we did that for Footloose and Elements. I would do that before you get on the ship. And as well, if there's any other things you want to book, go-karts or comedy clubs, book them right away. I would go there first. The first thing I did when I got on the ship and book those, because by 2 or 3 o'clock on the first day, before we even set sail, so many things were already booked up. They were booking go-karts several days out. Go book all those things right away. You can always cancel them. And I think it's something you do want to take care of. So because you only have kind of one chance to do this, and you want to make sure you don't miss out.
Now, some of the shows are offered on a couple different nights. So what we did is we looked at our itinerary before the cruise. Yeah. And we talked about this, and we said, okay, if we're going into port, do we want to see one of the big shows that night? Or is that something that we would rather do on a sea day? Now, for me, I find sea days really relaxing. And I prefer to take in one of the bigger shows on a sea day because there's less going on. Yeah. Some of the days when you go into port, you may have done a lot of walking, you may have been really busy, and you're kind of just done and you're tired for the day. So I would think about that. Think about your group. Yeah. How they may feel. So sometimes sea days are a bonus to book those things, but you decide for yourself. The other thing I was gonna say though is think about your restaurants too when you're booking the shows. Yes. I know a lot of them do sell out right away. Teppanyaki is definitely a hard one to get. Yeah. So pre-book some of your, I know we already are going to be talking about food next, but I would pre-book some of your restaurants right away as well. And think about the timing for those though, because you're going to want to leave timing for dining and the show. So you kind of have to have both of those out at the same time when you're planning those. Sure. The two main shows they had this week were Elements and Footloose, both amazing shows. Footloose is kind of a musical, or I don't want to say musical, but like lots of singing and dancing. And Elements is kind of a Cirque du Soleil kind of magic inspired show. Now, we thought they were absolutely amazing. I heard other people who said they just came from Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas and they didn't think it was great. And I get that, but you are on a cruise ship and we thought it was phenomenal. One other thing they did, a lot of, they had a magic show. PJ Wen was the magician on the ship when we were on there. And look closely in your daily guide because they had a full magic show that was separate from the Element show on one of the nights, but it wasn't really overly advertised. We had to look closely in there and it was packed out, but yet it wasn't really kind of advertised too much. So look really closely at your daily brochure to make sure you're not missing out on any of the things. And I should tell you that show you couldn't reserve ahead of time. No, you couldn't. So you needed just to get there early. So that's not something that you can book before the cruise. So that's something you're going to have to watch for. And if you're in a big group of people, you're going to want to show up early to make sure you get a nice seat for that. And also, it was a very family-friendly magic show. Yeah. It was entertaining for us adults. Yeah, but it was one of the typical cutting people in half and doing that kind of stuff. It was really, really well done, and we enjoyed that. Yeah. The other thing I did want to mention was in Elements, and I believe Footloose, if you don't like dry ice, don't sit in the first 5 rows. There was lots of dry ice, and to the point where
it kind of was overbearing, and some people did leave. We were fine, and we were sitting, I think, in the second row at one point. But some people did leave because of it. So if you're worried about that, maybe you sit 5 or 6 rows back, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. But there, especially in elements, there was a lot of dry ice. So.
But we love the shows and the entertainment. Oh, and we should mention the comedy.
Yes.
We only did the family-friendly comedy, and we have done other comedy shows on other cruise lines that claim to be family-friendly. This one, the week we were on with the comedians we were out with, they were family-friendly. Some of the jokes the kids maybe wouldn't understand as they wouldn't be relevant. They were based on like older TV shows or things they may not understand. Yeah. But for the shows we saw, they were clean and they were funny and they were entertaining. So if you like comedy, I'd check them out. Yeah, for sure. So that was entertainment. So number 6 is the food and dining on the Norwegian Joy, which I'm going to start off by saying was absolutely amazing. There's so many options. The Manhattan dining room, the taste, the savor, the local. There's the buffet, as well as in the observatory. There's a couple of small buffets in there. Lots of different options for dining. And we actually only ate in complimentary dining on this cruise. There were so many different options. I will say, though, that we've heard amazing things about the paid dining, the Manhattan, teppanyaki. They all look amazing. And again, book those ahead of time or as early as you can because they do sell out. There's just so many different options, and it seemed like the menus. They had their things that were continuous on every night's menu, but there was lots of different options every night and for lunch. So it has been a while since we had cruised with Norwegian, so it felt like all the restaurants were new to us again. And I think over the years the menu has changed, so we couldn't even get through trying everything that was complimentary on the Norwegian Joy. So I think that's one of the reasons we just stuck with the complimentary. So I think we're gonna have to cruise again with Norwegian and try some of the specialty dining, because I really like the idea of eating out on the waterfront on deck 8, like to eat out on the kind of that patio overlooking the ocean. What a great idea. It's beautiful, and I think I would really enjoy that. So, but I just think it means we need to cruise some more. Yes, hopefully soon. The other kind of cool things, I know if you've watched our vlogs, we really enjoy going for dinner around 5 o'clock because we often, and more often than not, get to sit right by the window, especially in the Manhattan that's right at the back of the ship, and there's gorgeous views. And hey, if you're from the East Coast, 5 o'clock West Coast time, if you're going to Alaska, is 8 o'clock for you, so you're having a dinner, kind of when you might have dinner back at home. So great option for you. The other really cool thing that I really enjoyed is the ice cream on the Norwegian Joy. They scooped so many different flavors. And they had soft serve ice cream as well. So there was lots of different flavors there. And towards the end of the week, I think everybody ate so much ice cream that they started to run out of flavors. So by the last day, they only had, I think, strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. But they had kiwi throughout the week and all sorts of different flavors that it was really enjoyable. That was nice. And, nobody has to know that you may have just gone from the Manhattan upstairs for some ice cream. That's true. So, or some extra seafood. You can always sneak and go get some ice cream. So nobody will tell. Yeah. That brings me on. I just want to mention that the food was really good tasting, and we were on a cruise line before where a couple times we got food that was undercooked, and I became nervous to eat dinner. I was nervous to order chicken, and I just want to make it clear on Norwegian, I did not feel that way. All my food came properly cooked, and I felt comfortable eating it, and I wasn't afraid of trying their seafood or their chicken. So that was really awesome. I also want to mention, though, about lobster and things like filet mignon. Those things are not included on the complimentary menu. No. And I think that's becoming more and more common with a lot of the cruise lines. And Ken, why don't you tell them what you've seen when it is included? Well, we've seen on other cruise lines where people will go for dinner and order lobster, but then they leave with 4 or 5 extra dishes of lobster and take it back to their room. And I think sure, you love lobster, but I think if you're doing that sort of thing, you're going to be raising the price for everybody else on cruises. So I think just having common courtesy and
only kind of eating
what you can eat
in the dining room.
Yeah.
I don't think, for me personally, I don't think having to take 4 extra lobsters back to my room is going to help everybody keep the price down for cruising. So
that could be why they're only found in the specialty dining now.
Yeah. So anyway, that is dining.
So one thing that we learned while we were in Victoria is that if you're flexible about what dates you can book your cruise, I would suggest looking at the ports, looking to see what events they have going on, put on by the local communities, because we had no idea that there was going to be the busking festival while we were in Victoria.
Yeah.
And it was really entertaining, and it was a lot of fun, and it was so much fun that I would even take my kids back to Victoria just to see that. So even if you're not flexible about what dates you can go on, I would still look to see what's going on in each port before you book your excursions, because maybe there's something that you're passionate about or interested in that is happening in that port that you're like, hey, I really want to do that. I didn't know about that. So, do your online research and find out what's happening, because there could be something cool happening.
Yeah, and if you're maybe on a budget as well, you might want to use that excursion money in a different city if there's something really cool going on that day that you're in one of your ports. So I don't think that's just the Norwegian Joy. I think it's all cruises in general. Just Google what's happening on the date you're going to be in those ports. So yeah, kind of a tip for you that we kind of learned on this cruise. So that we're going to do from now on. So other than that, the cruise, we have to give it a 10 out of 10. We had an amazing time this week, or that week, and it was just phenomenal. So much so that
I helped my mom book a cruise on the Norwegian Joy next month, so she's excited. We're excited for her, and we trust the cruise will take good care of my mom and her friend, and they will have a good time. So that's how confident and excited we are about the Norwegian Joy.
Yeah, and it was just a wonderful week, and we have nothing but amazing things to say about Norwegian and this cruise. So I do want to say thank you to every single one of you, the thousands of you out there who've watched our videos and spent countless hours watching us. Thank you so much for that. So many of you have sent kind words and pictures. We thank you for all of that. It's been an amazing time reading all those and enjoying everything you've had to say. So thank you to all of you for that. And we've got a whole bunch more Norwegian Joy videos coming up, smaller ones. Again, just smaller room tours and smaller videos. A lot of them might be recaps from the full vlog series, but make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that coming up. As well as we've got more videos coming up on other topics and hopefully more cruises in the next year that we can share with you as well. So make sure you subscribe, hit like on this video, and until next time, thanks for watching and take care.